Yesterday turned out to be a unique day, to say the least. Here in San Diego, power was cut off to the entire county. For those of you who don't know, San Diego is a big county, about 2 million people. It started at about 3:40 p.m. yesterday. Power was out all afternoon and all night for millions of people. My own personal experience started at 3:40 when stoplights were out. Not knowing that this was a power outage affecting the entire county, it's just like, oh well, this is a minor annoyance. It'll go away in a couple of blocks. But as I drove my daughters from San Marcos to Oceanside, it's about 12 miles, traffic lights were out all the way. So the worst of it for me was that normally about a 40 to 45 minute round trip turned into a 2.5 hour labyrinth. Being stuck in traffic for 2.5 hours is bad enough, but when you're dealing with a bunch of intersections where people really have no clue how to proceed, that 2.5 hours was a lifetime. Okay, perhaps I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it sure felt good to get home. And on the way home, I finally found a use for the radio in my car. I haven't listened to the radio in a long time, but hey, guess what? They're still broadcasting. And so the good old standby AM radio let me know that the power was out everywhere. And when I found out that people were stuck in elevators, I didn't feel so bad about my 2.5 hour journey home. As the night wore on and power didn't come back, I found a little transistor radio and dug up a couple of AA batteries, and I listened for any clues about when the power might be coming back. The most helpful information came directly from a press conference being held with the mayor and some San Diego Gas and Electric officials and law enforcement. And even though they didn't provide clues as to exactly when the power was coming on, it was still comforting to hear that there was a world out there and that the people in charge were taking care of business. But as is always the case with the news, there was less than useful information. At some point I heard a local news reporter getting all upset about this one worker that caused this problem. He was ranting and raving and saying, oh, this guy won't be invited to many Christmas parties. Jumping the gun and not funny. A winning journalistic combination. I suspected at the time that I should take that little bit of information with a grain of salt, and this morning, after reading stories from some more responsible journalists, my suspicions were correct. A lot of people reporting the news would rather get it out there fast than get it out there correctly. So here's the real scoop. While it is suspected that this was triggered by the repairs being done by a single worker, officials from the power companies in San Diego and in Arizona say that there are safeguards in place, and one worker replacing a part at a substation should not cause this kind of problem. So anybody who knows this guy, feel free to invite him to your Christmas party. The report went on to say that when these kind of things happen, it takes weeks or maybe even months to determine the cause. As a precedent, they talked about a power outage somewhere else, Texas, I think, where it took 6 months to finalize the report. Yet another reason why I'm not a regular consumer of the news. Most of it is speculation, jumping the gun, opinion. Hey, but that's just my opinion, which is okay, because I'm not a journalist. Well, yeah, I almost forgot the worst thing about this massive power blackout. I missed the NFL season opener, and I heard it was a really good game, too. Curse you, little electric worker in Arizona.